Hi there everyone, and this is Chrissy from InTheStarsByChrissy.com. And in this video, pag-uusapan naman natin yung total lunar eclipse na mangyayari on November 8, 2022 around mga 7 p.m. In Philippines time. So whenever we are talking about eclipse, this is always something like a huge deal. Something that is actually very, very important as well. And they are known to be a very, very karmic energy na nangyayari sa buhay natin, no? Not only for our personal life, but on the collective level as well. So it's actually something that people fear and people like at the same time. I would say na hindi naman good or bad ang eclipses, but definitely is not something easy or fun or exciting at the same time. But it definitely gives us a new chapter of our life. So let's put it this way: now whenever you are being affected by an eclipse, it creates a form of karmic cycle in a person's life na nag-change ng buong buhay nila, you know. And it doesn't always have to be something crazy. You could be starting a new job or a new business. You know, it's a new path, a new life, starting a new relationship, ending a new ending a relationship, all of those things. So I'm not saying na yun yung mangyayari, pero technically it's chapters of our life, you know, getting pregnant or having your labor and stuff like that. Mga importanteng moments siya basically. So technically, it's not something to totally fear, but at the same time, when we say new chapter of our life, it can be a very, very challenging moment as well. So doon pumapasok yung energy of fear and all of that. Now, before I actually begin, I just want to say some information about the eclipses. Usually, in traditional astrology, hindi talaga nila ginagawang parang fun event ang mga eclipses. It's not something that you seek out to look outside and stuff like that, like what most people do. Actually, when there is an eclipse, a lot of people in the past see this as a very ominous thing because it's as if they don't have some form of protection or some form of harsh energy is going to be bestowed upon them. That's not always the case. Pero para siyang kind of like calm before the storm kind of thing, and people have are being nervous about the situation, that kind of thing. So technically, when it comes to this, it has been suggested talaga, no, highly suggested, that you do not go out during the eclipse itself, or whether it's a solar eclipse or a lunar eclipse, depende how harsh the energy is going to be. My personal belief here is that, hindi mo naman kailangan i-adjust yung entire schedule mo kasi may eclipse or something like that. But if you can, try not to, do something very important during that day. Like, for example, going to a dentist or having some form of major surgery, medical surgery, or, pagpaparetoke, invasive surgery, medical surgeries. Try to avoid as much as you can. Kasi hindi siya ganun ka-favorable. Whenever you do something during an eclipse, something can go haywire, kumbaga. Of course, alam mo yun, hindi naman siya a very absolute thing. This is just more of the general thing na ginagawa ng most astrologers. It's something na hindi siya talaga totally nire-recommend, pero it's still a case-by-case scenario. So you do need to make your own discernment when it comes to that. But if you want things to be safe and kung pwede naman ma-avoid ang bagay-bagay, for me, wala namang sigurong mawawala na sundin mo na lang kung ano yung alam ng karamihan, yung ganyan. So, for me, it's my rule of thumb is that it's better to be safe than sorry. Kung wala namang mawawala, ede, wag na lang, di ba? Parang, kumbaga, don't risk it if possible, just because you don't believe in something, all of those kinds of things. Anyways, I've gave all of the time slots of the energy of the eclipse on my Facebook group. If you haven't joined that yet, you can join into facebook.com/groups/readings by Chrissy, or you can check out the link links in the description below this video as well. All of the links that you need to know will be there. You can also visit my shop wherein I sell protection oils, spiritual oils, and other spiritual supplies if you are interested. And my readings and other services are all posted below the description of this video as well. Anyways, without any further ado, let's go into the reading natin sa total lunar eclipse. So, in a nutshell, whenever there is an eclipse, I pay more attention sa lunar eclipse kasi I find that the lunar eclipse is a lot more dramatic than the solar one. Importante din ang solar eclipse kasi it's a new beginning. It's technically a new moon. But sinabi nating lunar eclipse, this is a full moon. You find out something. Some form of conclusion can occur. It doesn't mean na hindi ka pwede mag-start ng new beginning. You might actually start something, pero you might also find answers to some form of situations at the same time. Now, very interestingly enough, kakapasok lang kasi din natin sa energy ng Scorpio. I mean, Scorpio has been there for quite some time. But I would say na yung conjunction kasi ng Scorpio is on Sun, Venus, and Mercury during this time. So there's a lot of Scorpio energies. Pero hindi kasi yung Scorpio nagbibigay ng intensity dito eh. But yung opposition niya sa moon, which creates the full moon energy, and yung moon na ito is in making a conjunction kay Uranus. Now, whenever there is a moon conjunct Uranus, things really don't go as planned, you know? Kunyari, meron kang gustong gawin or meron kang ine-expect na bagay, pwede siyang hindi mangyari as you have planned things to be. This can be both positive or negative. It can be some form of surprise, a good surprise, diba? Pero at the same time, it can also be a negative surprise na parang masyashock ka. Also, the moon represents people of the masses as well. So I'm not sure if you guys are aware of that, but may nangyari daw, according to one of the people I talked to, there has been some form of stampede issue sa Korea, wherein a lot of people died in the process. So moon, Uranus, and then the energy of the eclipse, and then making a square kay Saturn in the 18th degree, in Aquarius can, create a lot of huge shock or losses involving a lot of people. That is just one manifestation to it. And there is a huge possibility na syempre affected yung bansa ng Korea. Their alignments in their own chart regarding that. But itong chart naman na tinitingnan natin right now, which you can see in the screen of this video, is yung magiging transit ng chart ng Pilipinas. So, iba-iba siya. So, depende on your location. Like, for example, if you are living in the US, it's going to be a different kind of chart. Pero yung mga transit alignments niya is going to be very much of the same. So, sa atin, this is going to be a Gemini rising in the 11th degree of their horoscope, which is a very, very Aquarius kind of energy. So, something new. And mas mafe-feel natin yung Uranus energy as well. So, this is actually something that we can feel a lot. A lot of people might have emotional issues as well, emotional excitement, I guess, or emotional breakdown is actually quite possible. And I'm not sure if you guys are actually able to see things perfectly, but yeah, nalakihan ko yung mga images dito. You will also see that there is a Sedna making a conjunction right here. And dahil dyan sa opposition with Scorpio, there could be issues of betrayal as well. And ito yung mga moments wherein I don't really suggest people to rely too much on other people in the process. You might think that you actually trust someone, but maybe hindi mo sila dapat totally pagkatiwalaan, or tipong the people that you trust the most might be the one to backstab you in the end. Or this could be a situation wherein it's just telling you that, there could be oppositions to the things that you actually wanted to achieve. So you need to be very, very strategic about it, and don't just have a blind faith na everything is gonna go well. This person will have my back. All of those kinds of things. So hindi naman very, very strong yung conjunction nila. So I don't think that is going to be a very, very big issue unless na lang na affected ka talaga very strongly. But also, the energy of Sedna can create a lot of, desire to escape, desire to own and possess something in our life. That can really happen very strongly, and a lot of people can be deluded with things as a result, maybe you want something so much that hindi na siya tama, or you're not thinking very clearly anymore. And very interestingly enough, direct na din kasi si Saturn, di ba, and si Pluto. So any form of change that you actually do during this time can be hugely felt. You might be able to achieve something na parang akala mo is impossible. Doing spiritual work, for example, and making things happen sa spiritual work mo can actually lead to some form of major breakthrough that can be quite positive for you. So I don't really see this as a negative way, but we do need to be careful of that Mars square Neptune na nangyayari here, because also Mars is also retrograde. So Mars has a lot to do with energy, with sex, or sexual energy, aggression, aggressive energy, fighting, anger issues, all of those things. So I would see this in two different ways, because it is a square, and even those squares are seen as a very negative thing in astrology, I would say na hindi naman ganon every time. If you would actually like take a look at the chart of the most successful people in the world, they have a lot of squares. Yes, they will have a lot of challenges in their life, but it also means that they were able to do something about it that lead them to some form of success in their endeavors at the same time. So yeah, this is not going to be an easy energy. This is going to be quite may mga harsh energy siya, a lot of issues of, na nafe-feel mo inside of you that you might not be able to know and explain very much. And we can actually see this in the news very much. Like, for example, someone just lost control of their emotions, lost control of their anger, to the point that they end up doing something that's not supposed to be done. Also, a lot of secrets has been revealed recently, and hindi ko rin sure if napapansin ninyo, but simula nung solar eclipse, or the energy of the eclipse is being felt since last month, there's a lot of news regarding mga forbidden things na ginagawa ng ibang tao na krimen, 'di ba? And stuff like that. I try to avoid those words being mentioned in the video, but to make it not too dark. But those things can actually, come up. Ito rin yung time na parang lunar eclipse has a lot to do with Venusian activity. So there could be something to do with women in general, talks about women. All of those things can really come into play at the same time. And also, this is more of a situation wherein if you think first, if you do your own planning and do something very strategic during this time, it might lead you more into a better place rather than acting first without much thought. Because if you give into your emotions and you act without thinking, you might just regret certain things in your life, basically. So, dun ka mahihirapan, no? So, yeah, but definitely this is asking us to change something in our life. This can also mean it might have to do with blind faith into something, which can some at one aspect can lead us to something really, really good, but it can also be a situation that can lead to something quite negative as well. Again, this is a case by case basis, and we won't ever know kung paano siya mag-manifest. And the reason for that is that this is a moon conjunct Uranus. We cannot predict what the future is going to be like, you know. Kasi Uranus is like the planet that the only thing that you can expect is the unexpected. Things are not going to go as planned, or things might just go much better than you initially planned, which is, good if that is going to be the case. So yeah, this Mars square Neptune can be very, very challenging when it comes to Martian activities because you might feel them more. Like, for example, people who are very sexual might feel the urge to be more sexual. A lot of sexual urges are going to come out, that their desires are going to come out. But for some people, pwede rin naman na they might feel weaker, they might feel na mas na they are feeling the I don't know, some form of parang either sickness or some form of feeling loss of energy ang pwede nilang ma-experience. It really depends kasi kung ano yung nasa chart ninyo, no? But technically, this Mars square Neptune, kailangan mo i-relate yung kung ano yung nangyayari sa totoong buhay sa spiritual world, or something that you cannot see or touch, because yun yung energy ng Neptune conjunct Jupiter in the sign of Pisces. This is something, it's more like a feeling, something like an activity, or you know Pisces is all about sleeping, mysticism, occultism, dreams, fantasies, and all of those kinds of things. So when they come together, you know sometimes you just don't know. You might take action that might not lead to anything, or you might take action that might actually have some form of wonderful results later on, those kinds of things. So I would say na ito yung mga time and moments wherein our desires are being tested right now, wherein gaano mo ba kagusto ang isang bagay, or do you have some form of self-control o hindi, or how real can you actually be, those kinds of things. Can you really be faithful on someone, or gaano mo kamahal ang isang tao or isang bagay, or how true can you be in the face of adversity. Siguro yun yung pinaka energy na pwede kong sabihin during this time. So all of that is really going to come into play. You will find out what you truly feel and what you really want during this time, and eventually some form of answer is going to be revealed to you. But you also need to trust your intuition. So, nakikita nyo ba yung trine na nangyayari kay Jupiter, Neptune, and trining the Sun? So, this is actually giving us a lot of support na parang we might want to trust something na sinasabi ng nasa loob natin, Or it could be something na parang some form of answers or feeling is going to be showering us to feel good about something. But we do need to be careful na pag-isipan natin if ito ba yung bagay na hindi natin pagsisisihan. Kasi Saturn is squaring that as well. So it means that when Saturn is actually there, Saturn is looking at you. Are you doing things in a moral kind of way? Ginagawa mo ba yung bagay with integrity? And all of those kinds of things? Are you doing things the right way? Or are you doing something na hindi mo dapat ginagawa pero ginagawa mo pa din? If you're actually doing something that you're not supposed to do, or some form of cheating, some form of, immoral things, you might actually regret that action because Saturn is taking a look on you. If you're doing things the right way, or you're doing things kung ano yung tama, ano yung just, kasi yun yung energy ng Saturn eh. A lot of people actually fear Saturn so much. They think that Saturn is going to hurt them. Saturn creates blocks and stuff like that. But Saturn is more of a taskmaster. It wants you to do the right thing. It wants you to do things the right way. Kaya kanya, hindi naman sa pinapahirapan kanya, pero gusto niya gawin mo ang mga bagay-bagay ng tama. If you're doing something too much, and maybe hindi na siya tama, then it might give you some form of problems and limitations, all those kinds of things. And also, I'm not sure if you guys can actually see, but this moon conjunct Uranus, nasa decan din siya ng Saturn energy, which can create as whenever I link Saturn and Uranus together, because I do have Saturn conjunct Uranus in my chart. Ito yung energy that you want to manifest something into your life. You're always desiring for something new. And you need to make it happen. You need to make it happen. And sometimes it's not something favorable. Kasi you can cut people off. You know, you have para kang lagi kang meron kang belief na I want to do things this way because this is what I feel that is the right thing to do. Of course, syempre, iba yung feeling kapag may moon ka dyan and mayroon kang north node dyan, which is giving the eclipse energy, and may sedna ka dyan, kasi it might give you a lot of confusion, kasi your emotions might rule over your mind. You know, hindi mo magawa yung tama, pero yun ang dapat mong gawin. You need to do things the right way. All those kinds of things. Whenever there is this kind of energy though, I always like tell people na pag ang Scorpio nasa south node, tapos ang Taurus is nasa north node, I would say that we need to achieve something in the real world, but we also need to let go and throw something out. So there could be some form of changes. So this is actually a good time to do some form of activities that can create excitement into your life. So another thing that you can actually do is to watch some form of horror films, diba? It gives you a thrilling moment, a scary moment, that kind of thing. It creates a nervous tension in you, all those kinds of things. And minsan yung mga simpleng bagay ng pagpapanood ng mga ganyang bagay can act as a remedy by itself. Not all the time, but you can actually do that. And if you haven't seen my previous TikTok video wherein I gave some form of remedy for the eclipses, you can also do some form of decluttering of your space in your home, cleansing of your home, those kinds of things. And you can actually, let's say, rearrange everything in your home. Parang interior designing kind of thing wherein you are changing the furnitures and atmosphere, doing something new. That you have never done before, all of those kinds of things. And ang importante talaga dito is you need to throw something out, get rid of something that maybe was very important into your life before, but maybe it's not needed anymore, it's very toxic, and you need to let them go. Parting ways into something, kumbaga, all of those kinds of things. Since we're talking about Taurus, this has a lot to do with material possessions and money as well. So a lot of people might receive a lot of money, or people might actually lose money depending on certain alignment and situations as well. So again, this is actually not a good time to gamble, I would say, because ito yung time na you need to be very sure of the things that you actually do. This is not the best time to play at the casino, or to do a lot of betting and stuff like that. I mean, yeah, there is still a possibility for you to actually receive things, but there is no promises in that, basically, because of the certain alignments that we have right now. Again, do when Saturn is direct and is making a, you know, is being the apex of the alignment. Like for example, in this chart, we can call Saturn as the apex of the eclipse energy. Technically, this is more about a situation wherein meron tayong kailangan paghirapan. Meron tayong kailangan gawin to change the circumstances of our life for you to maybe receive something. Kasi maybe nagiging magastos ka na, panay ang budol mo sa TikTok, sa Shopee, or Lazada, yung ganyan. And it may be a time for you to actually receive things right now as well. um so yeah, also this Mars retrograde energy gives us a lot of Martian things. So one of the things that I actually like doing whenever there is a Mars square Neptune is that I like to do spiritual work, whether it's a form of protection or cleansing, all of those kinds of things, kasi it's going to be highly effective. Doing Reiki or any kind of, spiritual activity is going to be highly efficient during this time. So, kung gusto mo magpa-Reiki ka, or kung gusto mo ng, you could also do some form of rituals like cleansing, protection, or spiritual bath. You can purchase that on my website, by the way, in thestarsbykrissy.com/shop. You can check the link below the description of this video for all the things that you can do to navigate this harsh energy. Then, kasi this is something that will be sticking with us for quite some time. On the good side, that ang maganda dito is that as long as you have this energy and you actually do spiritual work and spiritual activities, it means it's going to be highly effective in your life. You won't feel totally hopeless about things kasi you actually can do something and you know na magkakaroon talaga siya ng major effect sa buhay mo. So that's actually one of the good things about it. This moon conjunct Uranus is definitely going to be very tricky kasi ito yung bagay na parang hindi talaga natin mako-control. Our emotions is going to be up and down, and a lot of people might be at their highest and happiest state of being, and some people will be at their lowest, and that's really just something that, I cannot be totally positive every time regarding this as well. And we would also see a lot of things in the media. So a lot of mga pag-aaway online or some form of discussions online, journalism issue, media issues can really be confusing and deluding. So in a nutshell here, ang pinaka-idea talaga here, no, if you would ask me, is that you need to do the hard work yourself. Do the research yourself. And don't just rely on other people. Don't just believe on other people. Lalo na kung alam nyo naman na parang pa-hype lang ang bagay-bagay. They're doing it for the sake of some form of promotion. Something that is actually not real, not true, all of those kinds of things. When Neptune is actually at the top of the chart, it means na parang everything is mystified. Everything is being like seen in rose-tinted glasses. Yung maganda dito is that if there is something really, really stubborn in your life na hindi mo matanggal-tanggal, like for example, weight loss, hindi ka pumapayat, you can actually do something to lose weight during this time. And it might be highly effective. When Neptune is there, this can be something to do with uh it has something to do with mga pills siguro, or mga alam mo yun, yung mga uso ngayon na parang coffee intake, mga ano, supplements, weight loss supplements, or even yung medication can be actually be highly effective more than usual, those things can actually really come up during this time. Pero at the same time, no, kapag too much naman yung medication mo, pwede siya maging super highly effective to the point na it can be very damaging as well. Again, discernment is definitely the key here. Hindi ka pwede basta-basta gumawa ng bagay-bagay. Remember the story of Sedna, guys? I've told this to everyone like a lot of times na Sedna is more like a girl who is really not disciplined in any way. She needed to grow up, but she wants to do things in a very shortcut way. She wants to, you know, gusto niya maging successful in life in the easy way that she knows. So, papasok siya sa mga situations, magpapakasal siya sa isang tao na nakita niya, and without actually figuring things out kung anong klaseng tao to, tao ba to talaga o hindi. And then she got really miserable kasi nga she entered in a situation na parang wala pala siyang mapapala kasi Akala niya magiging easy ang life niya, yun pala magiging ano lang siya, magiging parang pawn lang siya for the other person's success, ganyan. Um, and at the same time, nung gusto na niyang gumawa ng exit, hindi na siya maka-exit. So, she asked for yung help ng father niya, and the father niya tried to rescue her at the same time. But for some reason, hindi rin siya natulungan ng father niya. In fact, she got betrayed by her father. So, kumbaga, at the end of the day, nag-rely lang siya completely to someone else. To the point wherein, alam mo yun, there's a lot of betrayals that has occurred. But at the same time, she grew, nag-transform siya to the sea goddess, kumbaga. And there's a lot of lessons that she was able to learn, but at the same time there was a lot of pain in the process as well. So merong ganyong energy si Sedna with this eclipse. So for me, hindi naman ibig sabihin na ganun yung mangyayari sa atin, no? But ibig sabihin nito is that we really need to think about the things that we are entering, or things that we are engaging on, and make sure that we're doing things the proper way. We're not doing any form of shortcuts just because na feeling natin it's what's going to help us get ahead with life, you know? And also, do your research with things as well. And don't try to initiate some form of action that you will actually regret during this time. So, yung paggagawa ng mga immoral na bagay, hindi siya supported, lalo na during a Mars retrograde energy. So, yun lang. But, again, Taurus in a North Node will give us something, you know? And also, this can also be more of a situation on the lighter side, okay? On the lighter side, this could be a situation wherein you might actually fall in love. You might actually have a feel-good moment and enter a situation that can, change the course of your life for good. Yun ang isa sa mga magagandang bagay nito, you know. You might find someone and then be struck by a Cupid's arrow and just fall in love with that person. And you might be in a situation wherein you're bringing something into the real world and you are going to be happy with it. There could be something to do with our money as well, or it could be sa bansa natin, may something to do sa pera at the same time. There could be some form of big announcement that will come to your life that can change and alter the course of buhay mo, ganyan. So, those things can actually happen during this time, and it's quite common. I do not see, ito yung mga bagay na hindi mo siya dapat katakwat, wah, hindi ka dapat maging afraid. Sorry, hindi ko masabi yung word. Hindi ka dapat maging afraid sa energy na to kasi nandyan naman si Saturn. As long as you're not doing anything mean or you're not doing anything na dapat mong ika-regret, hindi ka dapat matakot. Kasi Saturn is only going to create some form of harsh energy to people na hindi gumawa ng bagay in a step-by-step process. Mga bagay na hindi ka nag-ingat, wala kang discipline sa bagay-bagay, all of those kinds of things, or you're doing some form of cheating or immoral action to get ahead of a situation. Yun yung mga bagay na hindi talaga sinusuportahan ni Saturn. Ayun. So, shortcuts is not really supported during this time. Pero yun nga lang, no, Moon conjunct Uranus, for the most part, yan lang yung bagay na concern ako talaga. Kasi when that happens, and then nakasquare pa siya kay Saturn, there's going to be some form of issue that may come up. Deaths can really occur. I'm not gonna lie. But it can also be a situation wherein you're bringing something in reality, you know? It could be an idea that you are going to form into the real world. Those kinds of things. But you need to do it or do the hard work by yourself. You cannot rely on other people. Or at the same time, like I mentioned earlier, create some form of change yourself. alter the course of your own life without relying on other people. All those things can really come into play. But anyway, so without any further ado, that's it for the reading for our total lunar eclipse on November. And if you want to know how is this really going to affect your life, um, paano siya magkakaroon ng change in your life as a whole, kasi depende sa lunar eclipse if affected ka or not affected, it can create a mark in your life within the span of a year to 3 years. And technically, magkakaroon siya ng certain effects sa buhay natin. So, you can book a reading with me, astrology reading. May transit reading din tayo. For that, on my website, inthestarsbykrissy.com, meron tayong astrology readings there and different kinds of readings as well, intuitive readings and all those kinds of things. And also, if you want to visit my shop, it's inthestarsbykrissy.com/shop. And so, yun lang. Thank you guys for watching and tuning in with me. And I'll see you guys again on my next video. If you haven't subscribed to this channel yet and you want more videos like this, please hit the subscribe button, share the videos, and hit like if you like the video. So, yun lang. And thank you guys, and I'll see you guys again next time.